So sometime around Christmas last year, the movie It's a Wonderful Knife came out starring Justin Long, Joel McHale, and others. Really like Justin Long, so I'm always going to check out his movies. And what better time than now? We're just entering December to get into that Christmas spirit. I'm going to go back and review it. So it's following that trend of modern horror movies, much as Freaky and Totally Killer, where we're taking an all-time classic, mixing it with a slasher. It's a Wonderful Knife. Bet you can't predict what that one's going to be. You got it. It's a Wonderful Life mixed with a slasher. So there's some good stuff going on here. There's definitely some real issues going on, but I think you can have fun with this one. Let's talk about it.
I stood under the aurora and said everyone would be better off if I never existed.
So I'm going to try to explain this movie as basic as I can. You have this small community called Angel Falls, and you have this killer called the Angel that's tormenting them. And spoiler alert, maybe not. So if you haven't seen the movie and you want to see it, go check it out. But I don't think this is really centric to the plot. It's revealed within the first 10 minutes or so when he's killed that the killer who's doing these acts is the mayor of the town, played by Justin Long. And that matters because time's going to go on in this film, and the main character is going to wish she didn't exist, much like It's a Wonderful Life, and she's going to see an alternate reality where she never stopped this guy from killing. And that's what this movie is. It's seeing what it would be like if she never stopped this guy, that alternate reality, him still killing, and all of her loved ones still being in danger, and the repercussions of all of that. Now, starting off, that's really what makes this movie really weird, and it's probably where it's either going to really capture you or lose you, because it's a slasher, but you know who's doing it. And I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that does that and it does it effectively. It's really hard to maintain interest in these kills and the mystery of what's going on. She's trying to tell people, you know, who this guy is, but they don't really know who she is because she's from an alternate reality and she just kind of appeared there because she wished that. So you have this weird whodunit element where she's trying to get people to believe that she knows who the killer is, but nobody knows who she is, and we already know who the killer is. And there's just a lot of moving parts like that that's very strange. And I get that it needs to work like that for this movie to make sense because it has that alternate reality feel to it, but it's kind of a whiff because when you have a slasher, I want to guess who the killer is, and we know within the first 10 minutes. Getting back to the major sell of this film for me, Justin Long's in it, and I really like the guy's career. I like how he stays in horror. I just think he's a really good actor. Not really the case in this movie. It's not really his fault, I don't think, but it's the character he's playing. Full-blown cartoon. I mean, 80% of the time he's doing this really childish baby voice, but it's not consistent. The other 20% of the time he's talking normal, and sometimes he's telling jokes with it. I really don't know what they were going for with that. So it was supposed to be comedic, did not work for me at all, but since he is the central focal point of this movie and the plot, kind of a miss because you're following this guy who just seems like he does not fit into this movie at all. About 80% of the movie, he sounds like this. Hello, citizens of Angel Falls. We are looking for the killer. What the fuck were we doing there?
Angel Falls, I give you Christmas. You be safe now.
Sticking with his character, unless I missed it, I don't really know why he was doing this. They say he's this annoying, narcissistic mayor who wants to make a lot of money, and he's killing these people who own businesses so he can take over plots of land. But he basically owns the entire town and he has all of the power and everyone thinks he's a great mayor. Nobody questions the fact their town is just deteriorating. And it makes no sense because they say this guy's been killing every week. He's killed like 30 people or so. Half the townsfolk know somebody who's been killed. And he just comes out and says, vote for me, I will keep you safe. And nobody really questions it. They're all just okay with the fact that this guy is the mayor. Nobody seems freaked out. Up, another murder. It's just another day in the town. It feels very cartoony for what they're trying to pitch. And I think that is the point of this. It feels like this movie has a very heavy comedic undertone to it, but I didn't find it funny. I didn't laugh. So yeah, this movie is very strange when it comes to the tone. If that's something that really works for you and you laugh during this movie's probably going to be a huge hit. For me, that whole element of the movie, like the whole plot and like the comedy element, didn't really work at all, but I was still entertained at other points. Sticking with the tone of this movie really is kind of all over the place when it comes to the tone because it's two different movies and they don't really feel connected. You have her character who goes back and she's in this alternate reality where she knows she doesn't exist and this guy's still killing. And it's what she's trying to do about that. She's trying to connect to her family and she's trying to figure out what's going on, how she got there, how she can leave, how she can fix this. And it's a whole central plot that you're going through. And she's also has this love relationship with this girl she meets. So that's another point of it. And you're just following her character while she just does something off in either of this. And then the other half of this movie that feels disjointed is just Justin Long's character going on a rampage, killing people as the Angel. So they're not really connected. You're just following her, doing her everyday life things, and she's getting to know these people. And then Justin Long would just come and slay people. And it just continues like that for the next hour or so. and it doesn't really feel like it's connected. It feels like it's basically only like that so you could have a movie with this title. At least to me, it feels like there was a movie somewhere buried in there that could have connected these better, like Totally Killer or Freaky did, and you would have that authentic merge of the classic and the slasher. This one doesn't really feel like that for me. It feels like they took those two movies and said, we could probably do what everyone else is doing, and they made that movie. But you can tell that's what they did because it just does not feel connected. Don't really have too much else to say about the acting and the writing of the characters in this. Most of the characters feel pretty generic, burnouts, just people you don't want to spend a whole lot of time with, including this main lead. I didn't think she was phenomenal or anything in this role. Compared to the leads of those other movies like Freaky or Totally Killer, I think this is one of the worst of these mergers. So I don't really think there was anything exceptional about this character or what they wrote her to do. And this movie tries to explore some profound messages of what it would be like if you didn't exist, how important a single person is when it comes to altering the course of reality in everybody's life. You know, that person you take for granted, or maybe even yourself, you think that you don't add impact to people's lives. One of those messages. It really tries to hit that home and sell you on the point that everybody has a purpose in life. Everybody impacts people in ways they don't even see. But I don't really think it lands because this movie's trying to be so comedic and it's trying to blend so many different things. It's just not done authentically. I will say, as much as I'm kind of ragging on this movie, I did find it enjoyable enough to watch because it's a swift 80 minutes. Always appreciate that with the amount of movies I watch. The fact that it's under an hour and a half, it's a slasher. We get right to the point. From the opening scene, you're getting kills, and the kills are entertaining enough. They're nothing you're going to write home about. They use some Christmas elements at certain points, so I think they're pretty cool in that regard, and I think they're filmed well. And there's also plenty of volume when it comes to the kills. There's probably about 10 to 20 kills in this movie, so you don't really go more than 5 or 10 minutes without a person dying. Whether or not that affects the plot or not, that's up to you to decide, but there's always something going on, and in a short movie, I can respect that. So yeah, for the most part, I had a good enough time and was entertained with this one. So overall, guys, I will say it's a wonderful knife. Do I agree with the rhetoric I've seen at points on the internet that this is like an all-time Christmas slasher like Black Christmas? Not at all. But I do think it's entertaining if you go into it with the right mindset. If you really like those type of movies like me, you like that Christmas subgenre mixed with horror, because this one is entertaining enough. If you like those movies like Totally Killer, Freaky, you'll probably have a good enough time with this one. I recommend it if you got nothing else to do. So I know it came out last year, but if any of you guys checked out It's a Wonderful Knife, if you have, comment down below, or let me know what your favorite little hybrid movie like this is, like that subgenre, or just your favorite Christmas horror movie. As always, if you haven't subscribed, join me down below. I love talking to you. See you in the next review. Peace.